we are officially here, you guys. So this is our breakdown, after show discussion, and review for Attack on Titan. This is technically episode 20, but it is 79. All right, gentlemen, what's going on?
I got 2 words. Emotional
Damage.
damage. Zeke just went through serious emotional damage, man.
He did.
Yes, he did.
He did, bro. So it's just so much, bro. I think the thing was, going into the beginning of this episode, I was kind of like, Zeke, it seems like you didn't scan through this man's memories before taking him through what you didn't understand. Now, when you didn't understand Eren and who he really is and what he's really about, you didn't understand your dad and what his powers are able to do, because Zeke didn't understand that, Grisha was able to see him or could even touch him. And then 3, I think he thought he was in control. And obviously the tables have completely turned. What did you guys think about this episode? What was the highlights for y'all?
Man, good God. The key, just seeing that first time that Grisha was like, Zeke? Nah, this old man in front of me is not Zeke. That the way they kind of slowly but surely kind of clued us in that Grisha can actually see these dudes as they're perusing his memory. That joke was crazy. But it's like, honestly, what I can't get out of my head right now is towards the end of last episode where we had Eren in chains. Right. And he's essentially letting himself be chained. Like, yeah, okay. All right. Go ahead.
Right. Ty, what about you, man?
Man, I don't even know where to start. The thing that when it comes to anything regarding quote unquote time travel, past, present, future, and being able to interact, it's always a mind cluster. Like, it's always something that's going to back you up. But this is what I love about Attack on Titan, that they do it so well, to find out that Eren is the reason for where things progressed, and also with Zeke not understanding, because he never had the Attack Titan to understand that he could use that to see the past and see the future, see the memories of those that at least previously possessed it. It's a total Kenyon's a nut. It's just a total mind cluster, man. Like, it's really one of those things where, like I said, he went Rorschach on him. He's like, I'm not in here with you, you're in here with me. And Zeke honestly finally got the magnitude of who he was actually dealing with. But also what I also like is that in the underlining of this, Zeke kind of got the quote unquote closure he needed in terms of what happened with his father. Like, he was very bitter with his father, but at the same time, he didn't accept the fact that he's basically who caused it. Like you said, he's the reason why his father was in that situation. Because if you think about it, Zeke snitching out his mom and dad put them in a position where his mom ended up being a Titan that ends up eating Grisha's second wife.
Yep.
Eren's mom,
Mm-hmm.
So if it really wasn't for Zeke, we technically wouldn't have this whole series. So what I find interesting is that the way this thing has gone like in a circle, it's like future Zeke has affected the things of Zeke in the past and his father at that time, and really how everything is kind of intertwined and connected. Attack on Titan does it well, but this was just a lot of emotional damage. That's the problem.
Right. Yeah, I definitely don't think that Zeke was prepared for the memories that Eren had emotionally. Like, I think that Zeke was like, oh, I know who my dad is. I know what it takes for him to have done this or done that or done this. He didn't even understand the levels of it, because every turn, every little memory, I think it was, even in the beginning when he was sitting there watching his dad and his dad kind of called out to his name, and Aaron was like, oh, we got to go to the next memory. We waiting on. Come on, let's go. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is this is a deconstruction. Like, he thinks that he's gonna, because I was worried. I was like, oh man, he's gonna try to manipulate Aaron's mind, because he's got this so much control, because he was like, oh, I can go and change this in a second. I'm gonna bring you back. You're okay, brother. But no, like, Aaron was like, I'm gonna let him do his thing, and he's gonna break emotionally. And by the time that happens, I'm gonna be standing up like it ain't nothing happening. And dog, like, I don't know, this episode made me very terrified of who Aaron actually really is, because we've seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always been signs of Aaron's darkness and his rage, but then you've also seen him be heroic. You've seen him show devotion and loyalty and love, like his capabilities on both sides. But even thinking back to how, what the mentality is for a kid to, kill like 3 random people without even thinking about it, like, Aaron was like, I've always been like this. You just never understood what I'm capable of. And I don't know, how do you guys feel about Aaron coming out of this episode? Are you guys like more fearful what he's gonna do, or you think it's gonna be a worst case scenario? Like, I think, Ty, you gave a scenario where by the end of this show, Aaron's gonna unleash, all the colossals on the world, and it's gonna take the original folks to stop this man. I mean, we were going about that doomsday scenario that Aaron would just completely just decimate everybody. But it's kind of hard because some of it is justified, some of it is not. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about Aaron coming out of this episode?
Well, Married to the Real, man, it's funny. They mentioned that apparently Aaron somehow got the award for the best protagonist and antagonist at the same time.
Yep.
And it's like, I'm seeing the full-on antagonist side of it now, and it's just, it's again expertly written that we get to see. It's they literally took kind of what Disney would do to show somebody as a villain, and then later on go back and show their backstory, so you see how they became the villain. We just got to see it all in time, in chronological space. But man, this Aaron, good God. Like, yeah, no, I think expect the worst and be surprised if it doesn't go all the way there.
Yep. Ty, what about you, man?
For me, I am I'm honestly on board. I'm on board with having fear of Aaron's capabilities. It's been a slow progression of Aaron turning from this vengeful spirit on specifically just Titans for what he's seen them do to his family and his people, to now being this calculated tactician who just wants to see everything wipe out, in terms of just getting rid of I think he's now gone past just the Titans to what the core of the problem is. And he might think the core of that might be Ymir. But I think at the end, what he is trying to do is basically clear the board, but make a future for those that will not have to suffer the way he suffered. So instead of euthanizing, which is what Zeke wants to do, he wants to be, he kind of thinks of, okay, I'm just going to clear the board. Those that are responsible, those that have done, the injustice, those that have systematically in some way, shape, or form, whether it's minuscule or or major, played a role in the events that led to what he has been through and where it is. He just wants to wipe the slate clean and leave it for those innocents and the future, those kids that don't have to go through that. And more than likely, a world without Titans does that. But I think he has played an incredible protagonist, and his development into the antagonist that we're seeing right now is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm on board, but I'm afraid.
Yeah, and it kind of harpens back to one of the things that me and Ant was talking about before you got here, Ty, is the fact that Aaron's memories and what he's learned and what he's known. And I was kind of like, when they started navigating the memories, I was like, it seems like Aaron's seen all this, all these small little details, he's seen it all. And I think there was a moment where Zeke was looking over at Aaron's face and Aaron was just dead faced and disgusted. Like, it was the first time you saw Aaron have an actual emotional reaction to anything this entire season. And he had it straight at his dad, like, yeah, bold-faced dog, remember what happened to your sister. Don't forget it. And do this, what you got to do. Do here what you came to. And I was just like, bruh, I don't recognize this man anymore. But even deeper than that, the memories. Because Grisha said to Zeke, before, he said, I love you and I'm so sorry. He was like, you're whatever you want, it's not going to happen because Aaron is in complete control right now. And I think he said something along the lines of what he's capable of or what's going to happen. It was just horrific, something of that nature. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to, like I said, like, how did Aaron get all this understanding of everything that needs to happen, how it needs to happen? I think that Aaron's been navigating through the past and present. Is that a safe bet at this point, based on what Grisha said?
I think so. I think the moment he kissed Historia's hand and he had access to royalty that could use the founding titan, he was able to understand and see the past, present, and future along these paths as the coordinate. And from there, I think that systematically triggered everything that occurred, because his father having the attack titan, being able to see that, he knew his son was going to have it. He knew what his son was going to do and how his son was going to be. And I think that's also why he hesitated when he first got there to the church, because he probably looked in there and saw that if he goes forward with this, what's going to happen to his second son? And maybe he didn't want that. But when his son gave him that fierce look of, I don't want to live in the ignorance of being behind these walls. And if the folks that are outside the walls that have died, and no one replaces them or stands in their place, what was their dying really worth? Right. And I think that's when Grisha came to the acceptance that no matter what happens, he's probably not going to be able to stop this. I truly believe that if Grisha didn't even go through with it, at some point, this was still going to happen.
I agree.
And I think even though he himself as a doctor knew that he must do no harm, we knew that if the events didn't occur that way, Aaron may not have been in the position that we saw Aaron at, standing next to him. So Aaron knew that he had to move his father forward to keep the timeline going. But the simple fact of knowing that in that moment, Grisha still had the attack titan, so he was still able to see all the future events unfold, even past what Zeke was able to see. Yep. Which is why he understood, which is why after all that time, he's like, look, I've been a terrible father. Yeah. I should have had more time with you. I should have not focused you on those other things, because I've kind of repeated the same mistake, and look at the horrific child that I'm a horrific man that's about to unleash on this world due to my actions. And the simple fact that he saw Zeke, he recognized Zeke, and he finally got to let it all out. Aaron knew the whole time that was going to happen. That's why he probably had no problem being in chains. Aaron can see the past, present, and future. So he knew that Zeke was going to do that to him, try to put the one up on him. He knew Zeke was going to take trips through his memories in an effort to try to convince Aaron that their father was misguided. But Aaron has seen all those memories. Right. He's like, okay, you want to prove it to me? Watch. You're going to see that you were wrong this whole time. You're going to mentally break, which is going to break the shackles you put on me. And I'm about to show you what's really about to happen. And the way his father was like, you don't have any control. Aaron's controlling this whole thing. And he's like, you're not going to get what you want. Like, that's crazy. That's a mind cluster for your behind, man.
Yeah, I think, who was it that said it? I think Kenya said that this is a reading heavy episode. He was not lying. Like, I'm gonna have to go through this episode again just for like baseline content. There's so much happening, and it harpened back to the very first. I think Ty has brought this up several times. The very first shot we see of Aaron, he's under the tree, and he's dreaming, and he's seeing the events happen. This is long before he even had the Titan, which is crazy. And so all this is leading up to something terrible, I suspect. I guess where is this going? Because at this point now, like, we know that, you know, Aaron was double crossing Zeke and he had his own plan, but what is Aaron's plan? Is it to unleash the rumbling and decimate everybody in the mainlands and sacrifice anybody that's on their front? What do you guys think? Like, where is this man going with this?
Go ahead, Chitty.
Man, I'll be real honest with you. Between last episode and this one, they have thrown all of my possible theories into the water. I have no idea. The only thing that I think, and it's kind of crazy, morally sane on the good side. All right. I can't shake the fact that somehow, some way, Historia's child might have something to do with everything.
I agree.
And they never specifically said who the quote unquote father was. It'd be funny if it's Aaron. Right. It'd be funny if it's Aaron, and it'd be funny if this whole thing kind of starts all over again. You know what I'm saying? Just again, Aaron playing the long game because he's seen that future already and can control it.
True. I think what we're seeing is an example of, you know, you either die the hero or you live long enough to become the villain. I see some remnants of Itachi Uchiha right here going on. Like he knows what has to be done, but he knows in order for it to be done, he has to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
He has to be the bad guy. I think he's going to use the rumbling. I think using the rumbling will clear the board. But I think I think like Chitty said, he's thinking about, you know, the children of the future, including Historia's child, which is also part of the reason I wasn't sure if him and Mikasa were really going to get together. Because I think that thing with Historia and the child also plays a factor. But I think he knows what he has to do is going to be horrific, but he knows it's necessary.
Yeah.
He knows it's necessary in order to bring an established order, not world order, like dominant world order, but order to the world, which means you have to take the Titans off the board. And if you can take the Titans off the board where no one can become a Titan, you know, where you don't have to deal with the randomization if one of the 9 Titan die, and you don't have to deal with it even being a factor at that point, and you're just able to take them off the board. Aaron may even take himself off the board in terms of removing the Titans from him as well. He may go down to the core and just remove the whole entities of Titans or the abilities as we know it, to where the Eldians are nothing more than the Marlians, just regular people, where that gene won't be a factor, where Zeke's spinal fluid thing won't be a factor anymore. That's what I think he's trying to do. I think he is sane and morally sane on the good side. I just think that other folks would not be able to understand what he wants to do to get there. This is a clear example of Dan Brown's Inferno and the villain in that. Like, in order to save the world, this has to happen, and some folks are not going to understand that.
Right.
You know, because it means the death of many people. And while we are in agreement that even one death is unnecessary, it's the one thing that we honestly have to accept that we're all going to face and we can't avoid.
Right.
You know, so I think Aaron is just kind of moving that process along. And I think the old squad, I think Levi and Annie and Armin and Mikasa, even Falco and maybe even what's her name, old girl that shot his head off,
Gabby.
Gabby. I think they're all going to end up trying to fight to stop Eren once Eren gets the full Founding Titan form. I think that's what's going to happen. And they may succeed or they may not, but I don't think they'll succeed. I think Eren will still carry out what he needs to do, but in the end, it will be better for everybody because in the end, it removes all the whole concept of Titan out of the board.
Yeah, it's like Eren, even if Eren dies, he's going to put it in a situation where he's going to still win.
Right.
And I think that we kept on talking about like Eren's like emotional change, and now really, confirming the fact that he's seen all the past and the future. Like he's probably desensitized. Honestly, it's kind of like imagine, he probably had a memory of what he did in Marlia, and a little bit younger, and he's like, I can't believe I did this. Like, and yet he knows he's got to do it. So when the time comes for him to do it, it just is what it is. And so it's kind of like he's probably seen all these things and emotionally dealt with them already and just reconciled it to this is my fate. This is what I have to do. And that's just, it's sad. It's sad and it's sick all at the same time.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? Game of Thrones, Three-Eyed Crow.
That's a perfect example.
That's a great example.
Perfect example. That's a perfect example. That man, he seems, emotionless completely.
Almost,
but the reality, he's seen it all. He knows where it had to go. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, he's just come to terms with it, which would actually explain why he was so cruel to Mikasa and Armin, because he knows how that's all gonna lay out, and he knows that in order to get to where he wants to go, he had to do that. There's no saying whether he actually wanted to do it or liked to do it, but the truth is, he had to do it.
Yeah, in agreement.
Right. Yo, we don't know what's going on.
Need to catch him hands, and it might need to be Potato Girl's sister. Might need to be Sasha's sister, just out of nowhere.
Listen. I need her to get mollywopped by Sasha's sister, or just randomly stepped on by Annie when she finally comes back. Like just the random female Titan stomp on that little broad, and it's a wrap. I'm like, I'm good either way. Either way, I'm good.
Look, somebody that don't need to get a female Titan. If Gabby some kind of crazy way ended up with a female Titan,
God, dog.
People would be in trouble. For real. Like, Gabby is not to play with.
No.
I can't imagine her in a Titan in any form. It would be a problem. It would be a whole problem. But the thing about it is this: you remember when Eren, had an opportunity, he was like fighting against Mikasa, he was fighting against Armin, and then he said to the guards, round up the girl that killed Sasha. He could have had her killed. But he knew, now that we know, he knew that she had to be the person to shoot his head off to get to the point that he's at right now. Bruh, the writing on this freaking show is unbelievably next level. What do we rate this episode, y'all?
Oh, this is a straight up 10, like no question.
If it's 10 people in the chat right now,
look, if it's out of 5, it's 5. If it's out of 10, it's 10. If it's out of 50, it's 50. If it's out of 100, it's 150. Like this is off the charts right now. I gotta go back and watch it because I think I had too much initial emotional damage to deal with all the content, and I need to get back. But good God, man, this episode was great.
Dude. This episode feel like playing chess here. Hey,
if she wasn't an Ackerman, I would say he'd be in trouble. But she's not a she's Ackerman, so she doesn't have the blood to be able to do it. But I don't have anything else. We're just gonna have to ride the wave. We're gonna watch this episode a couple more times. Maybe convince our Thursday night crew to finally look at Attack on Titan so we can look at more of these.
We can't go through this mind cluster by ourselves. They gotta have the same emotional damage.
I just can't wait for them to see last episode together.
Oh my God,
the faces.
They're gonna look at Sam like, I will send you to Jesus.
On that note, y'all, we about to dip set. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell button, follow these amazing dudes, and we'll be back next week. Peace, people.
Yes, sir.
Falling out the top of the
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline.